マキがあんたに渡してって。
やらなければいけないんだ。俺がこの世界に生きる人間として。
So fun! We have Physical LR Super Saiyan Trunks Future. Sort of Hope Trunks is what we're calling him here. And we're going to see what he's doing here. 55% in the dupe system. He is Link level 1 right here. We'll see what he's going to look like. Now, I wasn't that impressed with his overall performance until his standby mode in a 55, not 55%, Rainbow, right? His standby is absolutely incredible. Even this Trunks could pop off and look pretty nice in a lot of situations. The issue is sometimes he could just look bad, right? It depends on the RNG that you get with this guy, but we'll see what is going to cook up here. Future Gohan doesn't really need to like kind of cook like this, so we'll just grab this with you. We'll get all of this with Trunks. So Trunks, how he works is he does have a starter turn 150% attack and defense. As a second or third attack on the turn, he does get an extra 100% attack and launches an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super. For the first 4 turns, he also does another additional attack that has a great chance to become a super attack, right? And on top of that, he gets 3 keys, right? So you see, he's pretty nice with ki overall. He might be able to do some pretty nice damage, even at 55% here. Even like level 1, 55%. I think his damage will be quite solid. Hey, see, I think the issue could be his defense, though. It depends on his additional super attacks. He does stack defense on his 18 ki. And with each attack he does, he will build 1 ki and then 10% defense, up to 5 ki and 50% defense, right? Luckily, that doesn't have to necessarily rely on him getting... How do I explain it? He doesn't necessarily have to get the super attacks to pop off, right? So it's a 9.35 mil attack stat. Okay, that is with 50% support. Human in Future Gohan does give Bottom Master and Disciple category allies support. You got a second super attack. This is the Great Chance super attack right here, which we did pop. And then we got a normal right here. So essentially how this Trunks is working is he gets 10% damage reduction with each super attack he does. That does reset over turn. Every single turn it does reset. But it does build to a max of 30% reduction within the same turn. So if you're able to get the full damage reduction with this Trunks, you'll have 30% reduction. And you know, once this passive is built up, I even think 55% Trunks could tank normals. Even against like some of the harder bosses in the game, I could very easily see something like that happening, right? Which is good for Trunks, right? Definitely really good. And now another thing, luckily Trunks, I feel like he's a unit that doesn't necessarily really need level 10 links like that. So, you know, I think just like, you know, level 5-ish links is really good enough for him. He doesn't really get a lot of defense from his links. He gets a lot of extra offense, I feel, which, you know, will definitely help his damage numbers. But I don't think it's going to be something where it's like, oh yeah, you definitely need him to be max link level. So right here we have everything except for, I believe it's Royal Lineage on this turn. He's already at 300k defense. And yeah, he's again building up more and more in terms of his stats. It gets a little difficult to kind of tell where exactly his stats are going to be now that we're starting to get some of these stacks in. But his stats should be like definitely, if he gets like 2 super attacks on this turn, I see him having the ability to tank normals against many bosses. He does raise attack and defense for the turn on his 12 key super attack as well, so that definitely helps out regarding that. But yeah, again, 8.39 this time without any support. So like honestly, for 55%, I'm kind of fine with these numbers that he's doing so far, right? I'm not gonna say they're like, especially 55%, that damage is not bad at all. Especially if we consider this triple super here. I mean, what he did, a 9 mil into a 5 mil to another 5 mil. That's not bad damage for just a free dupe unit. I definitely think I will take that. And his defense right there on this turn probably was at least 500k range. Now, considering that he has his full pass built up and he has the 30% reduction on top of that, I think he'd be fine against many normals in the game. Which, you know, just for a Link level 1 free dupe here without support, I mean, I'll definitely take that, what we're seeing so far for sure. I could have put Bulma on the team, even though she would have half a leader skill. But yeah, you could, of course, tell I'm having to run a friend Trunks. I did go about 1,500 stones into his banner, and I did not get a single copy of that Trunks, man. Very unfortunate, but I mean, it is what it is, right? You can't really control that kind of thing, right? Very, very sadly. I wish I could have got that Trunks to show him off myself, at least in my own account. But, you know, for future showcases, we'll just be using Trunks as a friend for the most part. Unless I get him with some of these upcoming stones that are coming out. But, I don't know. I don't really doubt it. I have officially given up, right? And, you know, it's also like this Trunks. I'm not like, you know, like, oh, I need Trunks. Like, if this is like LR Bulma, it kind of be different. But this Trunks, he's good, but I'm not like, you know, necessarily trying to really go all in for him like that. Even though I kind of feel like I did, right? Like 1,500 stones is quite a bit of stones. It's fine. At the end of the day, it is what it is, right? Okay, so now we have Future Gohan's domain, which is cool, right? Not really necessary, but I guess it does allow us to technically do more damage to a lot of these enemies, which is good. So we could use Trunks's Sword of Hope standby skill, which, you know, I guess we might as well just go ahead and show off his standby skill. So he's starting off at 519k defense. So, I mean, yeah, you could keep stacking him in some of this longer content. He'll get much, much higher defense. And if he does get the 30% reduction, you're cooking. Now, again, like I said, for the first 4 turns, his additional attack is a great chance to become a super attack. But starting from the 5th turn, he loses that additional. But then he also gets an additional that has a high chance to become a super. So essentially, it just goes from a great chance to a high chance. So at this point, he has 2 high chances. And it's like, at that point, it's kind of, you know, like, again, it's a coin flip for both of them. So you could very easily, especially, not get either. And then, you know, especially at 55%, not being able to get the hidden potential one, that would suck. But on turn 5, you can use the standby skill, which, again, standby Sword of Hope Trunks is very, very good.
助けるために戦い、みんなに助けられて生き延びてきた。助け合って生きる、それが俺たち人間だ。ベジータ、俺たちも。
I mean, honestly, besides that little, like, laggy section, the actual standby skill looks really, really good. So, I mean, Trunks here will have everything but prepared for battle and royal lineage. We're also getting 50% support from by the way. So he's starting off at 403k. His defense does go down because he loses the multiplicative stats. However, he does get a really strong ability in slot 1. If he's the first attacker in the turn, he guards all attacks and then does an additional attack that has a great chance to become a super attack. On the very first turn, he also has 50% damage reduction. And again, he launches an additional attack that has a great chance to become a super attack as well. So he has 2 additional attacks that have a great chance to become a super attack. He also does begin to change orbs to rainbow key spheres, a random type, which is very good. And when he launches, when he gets 5 key spheres, he gets a guaranteed additional super attack. On top of that, he still stacks defense on his 18 key, raises attack and defense for the turn on his 12 key. I mean, this Sword of Hope Trunks is really, really powerful. Obviously, if you can see right here, we're able to get very easily a lot of max key for a lot of these characters. Now, one final thing about the Trunks is you can see his standby skill right here. So for every charge that you get with the standby skill, you raise attack by 50% temporarily. Now, how you get the standby skill to build up is simply by attacking. So with every single attack a character does, you do charge the standby skill by 1. Which obviously, if you're using Trunks here, this boy is doing so many attacks within the turn. You know, Vegeta and Trunks, the LR Blue Goku and Vegeta, right? And it could just get, you know, very, very nasty with how many attacks you could potentially build up during the turn. But let's see what the Trunks is doing here. Obviously, you know, we're not going to be like, oh my god, he tanked Oceania Shenron. No way, right? You know, but that's more so for the future showcases. But again, 400k defense with guard and 50% reduction. That's like, you know, you don't die to anything at all, even at that level. And this is just his very lowest, right? So here's a 10 mil attack stat. He's definitely going to get harder from what we saw previously, because not only is he getting the guaranteed additionals, but instead of the 100% attack on super, he gets 150% attack on super attack, which is good. So it seems like we're getting both of the great chances here, I'm assuming, right? And yeah, just look at the amount of damage he did here. So 10 mil into what? 6.6 into 7 mil into 7.5. And here's a hidden potential system with a 7.7. His defense, again, he's stacking defense, raising defense for the turn. I mean, that was a really, really good showing for this future Trunks, man. He did quite a lot of damage there. For a free to 55% unit, definitely he cooked on that turn for sure. Let me, if I use this, do we kill? I don't know. Maybe we should just aim not to kill. I know that they get an additional super attack at 20 key, so we'll grab this, and then we'll just grab this. We shouldn't kill on this turn, but I will use the Sword of Hope, right? So you do stay in the standby skill mode for 4 turns, right? So obviously it'd be this, it would be last turn, this turn, the next turn, and then the turn after. Then he reverts back to normal. So we do have to use this standby skill on his next turn, or else we just can't even use the finish skill is what I'm trying to say at all. But that'll be good to see. The finish skill, in my experience from what I've seen, does quite a lot of damage, so we could see how much the finish skill is going to do. We still have the support up, and then we can also see what level of defense he's at now that he got an extra stack, right? I think that'll also be very important. But yeah, you could also choose to not use the finish skill. If you're like, let's say you have to use the finish skill, and like, let's say you're like forced to do it against STR Omega, and then maybe you still last in the middle of STR Omega. So I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of like a situation where you'd want to, but I guess I can't off the top of my head. But let's say there's a situation where you don't want to use the finish skill. No worries at all. You could stay in a standby mode. You still get the guard in slot 1. And, you know, with the extra stacked defense, you see he's at 479k. That's pretty good against a lot of different attacks. So we see we got 14 charges. Let's go ahead and use the finish skill here. And again, once you use the finish skill, you do go back to the original Trunks, which is a little worrying. I feel like in shorter content, it's not an issue. And, you know, if you just... I think there's ways to work around it where it's fine. But, yeah, I mean, he should still be good regardless. At least that's a good thing, right? I mean, it would have been nice if there was, like... I don't know, because maybe if his, like, normal state before the Sword of Hope, if it kept that great chance super attack for the rest of the battle, instead of having 2 high chances, it would just be very annoying if you use the Sword of Hope, you do like half the, like, you know, I don't know, let's say you do 30% of the enemy's HP, then you're attacking their turn, then Trunks gets 2 normals, and then he just dies to a super or something, right? That could be obviously very annoying, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and play this.
俺は負けない。お前に俺たちの生きる思いを潰させるものか。
So there's a Sword of Hope. The OST is really good, and it does match how it looks even in the actual like series. But there's well, it doesn't even really match. There's the 2 different Dragon Ball Super episodes. There's the one where he actually finishes Zamasu off at the end, and it has like that big flash. And then there's the episode after where they recap it, and it kind of looks like that. I believe that's where they took it from. There's also Xenoverse that looks like that as well. It just kind of underwhelming in terms of the animations, but again, let's talk about animations and not really Trunks himself. I could just do this here. Yeah, we'll just grab this here. I don't... actually, I just realized these guys don't guard anymore like that. You know what? It's fine. It's fine. They're gonna be just okay, right? It's gonna be just fine. Look. I should have put Vegeta and Trunks in the first slot, though. I don't know what I was thinking. Watch this dodge. Yes, sir. We dodged, though. It's pretty good. At least they still have the dodge after their guard runs out. That's a good thing. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else to say. I think we kind of covered a lot about the Trunks. Again, me personally, not really a big fan of his overall design, but again, we did see he did actually cook here for us. And it's a situation where you see this guy cook a lot for you, you like him a lot. You don't see this guy cook a lot, you don't like him, right? And at the end, that's why it's like, you know, just the RNG. And I feel like there's a thing where some units are more consistent than others. And while this Trunks has a higher peak than a lot of the characters in the game, he also has a... Oh, they start guarding. Okay, that's good. He also has, I feel like, a much lower, like, low, I guess you could say, compared to other units in the game as well. Which, you know, does suck. Specifically thinking about that. Does the domain run out, by the way? I don't even know. No, it's not. So, but as you see right here, we're back to normal with this Trunks. But he does have still the stack defense. So he's at 500k here, start of turn. We'll probably just put Future Gohan, this guy, in the first slot. That should be fine. We'll get one last rotation with this Trunks here. We'll see what he could do. But yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking about this Trunks. I mean, he didn't look too bad. Definitely not. I would say, oh, okay, this guy is taking some damage. Yeah. One other thing about this Gohan here is that he's not on time travelers. Actually, I realized neither of the Future Gohans are on time travelers. Right, because Trunks leads the time travelers team, and I realized I'm running Future Gohan while he's not on time travelers. You know, it doesn't even matter. Whatever. Who cares? It's fine. It's fine. You still... That's why. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, actually. That's why Future Gohan's key is, like, low, huh? Okay, interesting. But yeah, again, there's the same numbers we've seen. 8.7. High chance additional. Yeah, there's the high chance additional. Then, you know, additional normal. Then, bam, we die against, like, any hard boss. Because, like, he's at 530, 40k defense with 10% reduction. I mean, like, let's say the new Goku Black and Zamasu Red Zone, kill him. Just, like, instantly, right? But this is a situation where a lot of times we're not really going to reach that far into a lot of these different bosses, so that's okay. But, yeah, I mean, again, there could be issues with him sometimes. But I think overall, he looked pretty good this video. I'm actually pretty proud of how this went, but let me know what y'all think, and I'll catch you next time.